Hello and welcome to the PDC Darts Masters video with myself, MK from MK Darts, and Dean from Darts News Channel.
Hello, everybody.
Right, we can have a little bit of a discussion here and see where it leads us, talking about what we think is going to happen and who's going to do well at the Darts Masters this weekend.
Yeah, we've got some really exciting games. Actually, of course, it's meant to be the top 16 players in the world. Unfortunately, Gary Anderson announced that he was not able to play the Masters this weekend due to a back injury. Therefore, Stephen Bunting has taken his place to a probably very relieved Darren Webster. So without no further ado, we will crack on with the schedule for Friday. So the first game up that we're going to be looking at is Dave Chisnall against Daryl Gurney. What do we think is going to happen in this one?
Well, it's going to be close, I think.
Yeah,
I don't really know how to split it.
no, it's a very tough one. We've got Gurney has the 7-4 head-to-head. He's won the last three, but Chisnall has won 2 out of the 3 matches that they've played in the majors. They're two very even players, I'd say. They're both heavy scorers. They're both good finishers, and it's going to be very tough to split these two. I don't know.
See, interestingly, I think just from experience of watching, Dave Chisnall always plays well when he plays first, like the first match of an event. So
Yeah,
maybe that's it. But Daryl Gurney, you've got to say over the past year or so, he's probably in better form.
I would
But
agree. I
but
would agree.
I don't really know how to split this one. Yeah, I think
It's
it's going to
tough.
be a lot of legs.
It's going to be a lot of legs. Yeah, we're seeing it over at least 16 and a half legs. My only inkling to side with Chisnall is he looked very good at the World Champs. I've got to say he was, he
Yeah,
had his back against the wall. He played some great stuff. He thrashed Jamie Lewis, who took out Gurney in the round before. So I would side with Chisnall for this, but we're seeing this as a coin flip, aren't we?
yeah, and I think there might be, especially with the changes to the gamesmanship rules and stuff. Daryl Gurney's been known for a bit of that in the past. Maybe there's going to be a bit of an eye on him as well in that, and he's going to be a bit nervous over that. Where Chizzy's just going to go up there and play his natural game. It's no different to him.
Yeah, I mean Gurney. I think we know he's since the incident with Simon Whitlock at the Grand Prix. He's certainly curbed it down. They both, in my opinion, they both play the game in the right spirit. It's two quick throws, two nice throws really, and this should be a great match to watch to start off.
Yeah. So what are we thinking? 10-8.
My thoughts are sort of 10-8 or 10-9 to Chizzy. But I mean, when it gets to this kind of score, it can almost be dependent on who wins the bull off in the background, can't it?
Yeah, it definitely can.
Because if Gurney throws first and he gets a break and then holds, he's up by 3 legs. But if
Yeah,
it's the
well,
other way,
exactly.
so yeah, I think I'm going to call 10-8 Chisnall on this one.
Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. 10-8 or 10-9. Well, it's going to be a tight game, but
Certainly is.
Chizzy just edging it.
Chizzy just edging it. So we're going to put Dave Chisnall into round 2 on our little predictor there. And move on to our second game, which is the gentle Mensur Suljovic against the wizard Simon Whitlock, who might have one eye on whether Gary Anderson will be in the Premier League to see if he might be getting that 10th spot. But
That is true, and everybody thought Whitlock was going to be in the Premier League. Maybe he's going to have a point to prove.
it will be very interesting to see how he responds if he gets himself in that Premier League, because he's been very vocal on social media, stating his case about how he should have got in the Premier League. Not sure there's too many people that can argue it, personally. I think he had a very good year. Disappointing World Championships, obviously, to lose to Ryan Joyce so convincingly. But
Yeah,
this
it
match,
happens.
yeah, it does, of course. Suljovic, the same. He lost to Ryan Searle, didn't he? They both
Yeah.
had disappointing World Championships.
Well,
But
exactly, and especially first tournament after a disappointing World Championships. I mean, we saw it with MVG a couple of years ago when he lost to Barney, and then he went on a rampage and won all the majors that year.
Of course, and the same when he lost to Rob Cross 2 years back, when he didn't have any issue winning the Masters, did he?
No,
So
he comes back with a point to prove.
he does, and I think it will be a little bit like this for these two, especially Whitlock. That's why I think this is a tough match to call. Their head-to-head's pretty even. Suljovic just leads it by 8-6, but Suljovic has won the last three. And
Yeah, I think on paper it's Suljovic, but
on paper
there's a lot of complications.
Yeah, the last match they played was at the Champions League. I believe it was a dead rubber where Mensah had already guaranteed he was going through and Whitlock had already guaranteed he was going out. Mm-hmm. But Mensah won that by 10 legs to 1. So, over the exact same format as they're
You get that with Whitlock sometimes. He plays really well or really badly.
Yeah, and on that occasion, he actually had nothing to play for at all. So, I'm not sure there's too much to read into that. I personally think Suljovic is going to win. I've written down here a Suljovic 10-7. I like Mensah for this one, but we know, as we've said, Whitlock's coming out there with a point to prove. So, what do you think is going to happen in this?
I think probably Mensah just about gets it. Whitlock's going to have a point to prove, but I think Mensah is probably the better player at the end.
Yeah.
So,
score prediction from you?
10-7 Mensah.
I like that. Let's get Mensah booking a potential QF with Mighty Mike. Okay, so moving on, we've got another coin flip, in my opinion, between Darren Webster and Stephen Bunting. Obviously, Stephen Bunting, the alternate for Gary Anderson. Both men will be very happy with the draw that they've come into. No qualms about that at all.
Yeah, I mean, is this the highest seeding Bunting's ever had in a PDC event at number 4?
Yeah, I mean, that position is certainly one that, he's never seen before in the PDC. Obviously, he's very used to being number 1 in the BDO. But the fact that Anderson's pulled out has really opened up the draw for all 4 of those men. Gurney and Chisholm are going to be liking their chances of getting to the semis and further. This one's another tough call, I think. They haven't played too many times, 6 times in all. Webster leads this current head-to-head by 4-2. He won both matches last year at the Majors, which was at the European Championships and the Grand Prix. And it's another one where I think it will go pretty, over 16.5 legs, for sure.
Yeah. Makes sense. I fancy Darren Webster on this. He's been in good form towards the back end of last year. He was very vocal, saying, I deserve a spot in the Premier League. He's somebody with a point to prove. Stephen Bunting may not be as prepared for the thing. He's just come into this. He wasn't expecting to play until the Players' Championship because he wasn't in this. He didn't have Q School to go to, obviously. You know, he was expecting, a couple of weeks and then suddenly he's to this. What was his travel plans? He's had to up and go and, he's got the phone call and he's got to go down there. He's not maybe mentally prepared for it.
Oh, I agree with that. That's a key factor. I think, like you said with Webster, he showed some good form towards the end of the year. Another disappointing performance at the big one. Another player, not that he's been consistently disappointing at the Worlds, because he certainly hasn't, but I think he only won 1 leg or maybe 2 legs against Vincent van der Voort in a second round trashing. So this is a tough call. I think I just like you just about favour Darren Webster, because Webster's in the right mindset. He's going to be even more pumped up now that he knows he's playing Bunting and not Anderson. And I think Webster nicks this 10-7 or 10-8.
Yeah, I'm thinking 10-8.
I like that. Let's get that in.
We'll put the put 7 or 8 in there.
Yeah. Last game of tomorrow night, we've got the world champ, the world number 1, Mighty Mike, against world number 16, the Ferret, Johnny Clayton.
Well, we know what it says on paper, don't we?
We certainly do. We know Johnny Clayton. They've played 9 times before. Johnny Clayton's won twice. Once was in a Pro Tour, and once, of course, was that epic match between him and Van Gerwen in the round robin stage of the Grand Slam with just mental scoring. And,
Yeah, he just held on and then pipped him at the post. Johnny Clayton can, when pushed, average a hell of a lot.
Especially over that short format, coming back from 4-2 down against MVG with some just unbelievable scoring. And he's a brilliant player, but I can't see him winning this match. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, over a shorter distance maybe, but over the best of 19 legs, no, I think Michael Van Gerwen, unless he's really done nothing to the World Championship, then I think he will be definitely on good enough form to take out Johnny Clayton.
So we know Van Gerwen absolutely loves the Masters, don't we? He's won it every year for the last 4, and
yeah, that's right.
I don't see. I see maybe a 10-5. I'll give Clayton to get the chance on.
Yeah, I like 10-5.
But MVG 10-5 would be my prediction on that one.
Yeah, we'll go with you on 10-5.
Cool. So that concludes Friday night, and in my opinion, the Saturday session is where it's at in terms of there's two games that I'm so excited for. It starts off with Gezi with Gerwyn Price taking on James Wade, two men who have been in the headlines really for the wrong reasons at the back end of 2018.
Yeah.
Be very interesting to see how they both respond coming into 2019, as we've already touched upon with the new with the DRA ruling. Price was fined over £20,000 for his actions at the Grand Slam.
Yeah, it was £20,000 for that, and then another £1,500 on top for social media shouting his mouth off basically about it.
Yes. So it will be intriguing to see whether he bounces back. As we saw after the Grand Slam, actually, he seemed to lose a little bit of his composure, I would say, because he, remembering that in the Players where he was 5-1 up against Christoph Ratajski, and the Pole reeled off an unbelievable fight back to win that one. Mm-hmm. And then in the World Champs, he was well ahead against Nathan Aspinall and lost that one. James Wade losing to Ryan Joyce at the Worlds after having multiple match darts. They've both been not in great form. That's harsh, but when they've needed it, I think they've let themselves down a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes through this one. What do you reckon is going to happen?
Yeah, it's another one of those ones. And you see, I don't think this one's really close, but I don't think it'll go the distance. I think one of the players will come out and the other one won't. I think
it's tough to know who's going to come out.
I think it's going to be 10-6, but
I
don't know which way.
I'm inclined to go with Price, and I just feel like he definitely is not going to wilt. Given the DRA rulings, I think he's going to
somebody
do
else
what
with the points proof. Yeah.
Exactly.
I can win without doing what everybody's accusing me of.
Yes, and I think Wade, if don't get me wrong, I think if Wade turns up, then he's going to have a very good run at this one because he's in the right side of the draw. With Rob Cross, Michael Smith, and basically the side that MVG and Gary Anderson weren't going to be in.
Yeah.
And I think he'll fancy his chances, but I reckon Price is going to come out strong here. Okay. And I'd be inclined to go with a Price win.
What do you reckon? 10-6?
It's a tough one, but I like your thinking there that they're not. They're not both going to turn up.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
We can go with that.
We'll go with 10-6. Right. Cool. Right. So what do we have up next?
Next one, third match of the second match. Sorry. Of that afternoon session is between Rob Cross and Joe Cullen. As we said before we came on, there's not too many matches between the two, just because Rob Cross hasn't been in the PDC for actually that long, unbelievably.
Yeah.
So they've only met the 3 times, and Cross leads that head-to-head by 2-1. I think he won both the matches Cross won were on the Pro Tour. The match that Joe Cullen won was actually at last year's European Championships towards the back end of the season, which Cullen won in a really good comeback from the Rockstar. He won that one 10-8. I don't think Cullen will win this one on Saturday. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
No, I think Rob Cross gets this one. Rob Cross definitely good on paper, and I think it's got to be Cross. He's really solid. He's been brought down to earth. Remember, he went out a little bit earlier at the World Championship this year, so he's had some time to compose himself. He's had time with the family, and I think he'll come back strong. Yeah, I like Rob Cross for this.
Yeah, for me, Rob Cross was a great world champion the year that he had it. I know he didn't have the success, but I think the way he carried himself, and actually the way that he handled himself in defeat to Luke Humphries was, for me, was very impressive to watch. Also, how he played against Jeffrey Deswan in a match that most people were saying that he was going to lose, which I didn't agree with at all. But I think Rob Cross is going to have a great year. As you know, as they say, the monkey's off his back. There's no real pressure on him this year. He's not got too much to defend at all. And I think he'll be too good for Joe Cullen. So I wrote down Cross 10-6.
10-6, yeah, I like that.
Cullen had a terrible showing at the Worlds. I don't think he'll play
10-6, maybe 10-7. I think that could go with it. That one, 10-6 or 10-7 could go with the throw. Rob Cross going to get a couple of breaks in there, essentially.
Yeah. So third matchup, Michael Smith versus Ian White. We've got the Bully Boy leading that head-to-head by 9 matches to 5. They've never played a game that was more than first to 7, which was in the semis of a Euro Tour, and the majority of the times they play on the Pro Tour. So never played in a big match.
Ian White had a fantastic season last season, but he didn't have a brilliant run at the Worlds, but not awful.
He doesn't tend to go that extra mile on TV.
No,
is what I find, because
he had really good on the floor.
Really, really good on the floor, which is why obviously he's been a top 16 player for so long. But when we think about the World Championships and him getting knocked out to Devon Peterson, with how that side of the draw opened up, you could have definitely
had all the upsets in there.
He could have made the semi-finals, couldn't he? Comfortably.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, if he goes up there and plays the way that
he does on the floor,
it's just he doesn't quite transition up to the stage. Maybe he'll get there. Maybe this will be a season where he works out how to transition up there. But I think with Michael Smith, the form he's been on, reaching the run in the Worlds, everything. I mean, he is so confident. He's having a good time. He's just married. You know, his life, he is good. He is feeling great, and he's just going to come in. Ian White, not the biggest stage player, and I just don't think Ian White's going to be able to keep up with him.
Neither. The Bully Boy, as we know, he was sending me selfies of his holiday on his honeymoon, with a little chat we had on Twitter, which was good to see. He's in great spirits, and I think he's had some really well-deserved time off. And I can't see Ian White really pushing this one close. So I've written down 10-5 Bully Boy. Happy with 10-5 or 10-6 on this one, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I was going to say 10-6, so 10-5, 10-6.
Cool. And that takes us on to the last match that we're going to predict, which, for me, is the match of the first round. We've got Peter Wright out of form, some might say, against Jackpot, who looks like he may be on the road back to his best. Jackpot, they've played 31 times, actually, so it's the most out of anyone we've got in these first rounds. And Jackpot leads this head-to-head by 8.
That's just where the seedings have been for the past couple of years.
Exactly how it's worked out. And obviously, they've both been big-time players for a while. So Jackpot's an 18-13 head-to-head lead. They had one meeting last year on the Euro Tour, as Jackpot was, getting back, and Adrian Lewis won that one 6-3. They had one meeting at the Masters back in 2015, which Peter Wright won 10-8. How do you call this?
It's one of those ones. On paper, it's probably Peter Wright, but I fancy Jackpot for this one.
That's exactly what my thought process was. I think Peter Wright does start this match a slight favourite, because we know what Peter Wright's going to come out and throw. Really, if he's been talking that he's going to be sticking to his new darts. I really hope he does, because it's the go-to excuse, or not. that's not the right word, but it's the go-to thing that a lot of pundits and a lot of people in the media say when he loses.
Yeah, he said he's quite happy with his barrels and stuff, but he might change his flights and flight stem combination just to get the balance of the dart just right. But he seems to be quite happy with that at the moment because he's been doing a bit of exhibition work over in Prague. I think.
I saw that. Yeah,
There's a lot of them gone over there. That would have been a cracking exhibition. That
serious. They had Leighton Bennett.
And Bo Greaves as well.
Okay.
So they had everybody there. So you know.
Yeah. So that will be really good to see. Actually, I think for me, I hope that this match is going to be the tie of the first round. I didn't even. I wrote down that Wright starts a slight favourite for me here, but I didn't even put a prediction because I'm inclined to flip a coin on who's going to win this one.
Yeah. Jackpot.
I think we both want
10-9.
I would have 10-8 or 10-9.
Yeah.
That's the toughest one to call for me. Even though we've got two other coin flip matches, I see this one as the toughest.
Yeah, definitely.
So that concludes our predictions for the first round. I guess maybe worth mentioning or having a little discussion on who we think is going to go all the way here. For me, it's MVG.
Yeah, he likes the Masters. He is, as you can see on the screen, he's won it the last 4 years in a row. He likes the Masters. He likes this. He's wants to get off and running on a good season again.
Yeah. He knows it's where he lays down his marker. If you look at some of those winning averages, 2015 112.49, 2017 109.42. That's just beast mode.
Although I will say, if I look at the draw though, if there's one person that can beat him, it's probably Johnny Clayton.
It's interesting, isn't it, to see how he gets on in that first match? Because if he comes out...
I mean, we've got Michael van Gerwen as a strong favourite there, but if Johnny Clayton decides to hold on and manage to pip him at the post and manages to play really well over the long format, because we've seen him play really well over the short format, but we're not sure if he can transition. If he can, he's probably the only man in there. Gary Anderson gone. Who else can go toe-to-toe with MVG?
I think he's fastly becoming one of my favourite players, but I believe Michael Smith over this kind of format has it in him to beat MVG. Because the match play format to this to first to 11, I think it is in the final, isn't it? Yeah.
That's right.
I see Michael Smith being able to.
Michael Smith can do it. Yeah, definitely can happen.
But especially in that top half, I don't see anyone who, and obviously we know Gurney beat MVG at the Players' Championships, so that everyone's capable of beating everyone, but it's just how MVG is at the Masters. I think you can't look past.
I think MVG's got to be the strong favourite for the tournament there. Yeah, MVG and then Michael Smith in the bottom half has also got to be the favourite there, given current form. If Peter Wright turns up firing, or Adrian Lewis turns up firing like he rolls back the years a bit, Rob Cross can never be ruled out, but it's
the class in that bottom half is real. When you've got James Wade, two-time major winner last year, Gerwyn Price, Grand Slam winner, it's just how we know that the MVG.
I mean, it's the top 16 players in the world. You're not going to have any bad games, are you? Everybody can beat everybody, and we've seen that happen, whether it be on Pro Tours or in majors. But yeah, I think it's got to be MVG, Michael Smith final. MVG probably winning it.
Yeah, 11-7 or 11-8, something like that.
11-7, 11-8, MVG, yeah.
So I think that concludes our analysis and predictions of the Masters. Hope you guys have all enjoyed it. Make sure that you go and follow both of our pages. As you can see, they're above us on your screens, and we will be back with some predictions for the Premier League, won't we?
Yes, indeed, we will.
Brilliant. Cheers, guys.
Thank you for tuning in, everyone.
Bye-bye.